Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jonathan here. Welcome to another week of Yellowhammer Rival Sports, the best college football show on your newsfeed. With me, as always, is Isaac. How's it going, Isaac?
It's going pretty good.
Yeah,
Another week of college football
another
is on
week.
the horizon.
Yep, yep. That's the best part. Once we get here, week's gone, but we get to get excited about another set of matchups. All right. So first of all, we're gonna start with some big news.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends can't believe they were saying this, but they wanted me to pass along thank you to the University of Miami.
Oh,
Willie Taggart is out as Florida State's head coach.
yes.
Sure, many of y'all saw it. Not really a surprise, but maybe a little bit that happened during the season, Isaac. But this was kind of coming.
Yeah, I mean, he was 9-12 in 2 seasons, and from where FSU was to where they were, there was not a sign that anything was going to turn around. Things were going downhill. So I understand if you have a guy who's handed a rough situation and you want to give him some time, but Willie Taggart was not handed a rough situation. He was given a program that has been consistently successful for the last well over a decade. And the fact that he was not able to do anything at Florida State, in fact, make Florida State considerably worse as a program, and not just losing games. I mean, these kids were undisciplined. I mean, they just looked bad. The culture at Florida State was not heading in the right direction, and they need somebody who can go in there and fix that. So yeah, 100%, he needs to be gone. This is good for FSU fans because I don't think that he was the right person for that job.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, early reports already. It's maybe one of the Stoops brothers ends up over there. We'll have to see as time goes. Let's not get too excited. The rumor mill's just getting started.
Yeah,
We know there's
it's
going to be
time.
plenty more head coaches going to be looking for jobs here soon enough. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on what happens to Tallahassee because, again, that's a program that just a few years ago was consistent national title
Yeah.
talks, at least preseason, and it just hasn't been there the last few years.
Yeah, it doesn't make
Especially,
sense.
and Tigers not helped the situation at all there.
No.
So we'll be interested to see what happens there, as well as plenty of our fans watching the show, viewers. All right, so let's go ahead and recap some games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Baylor's undefeated in the Big 12 had a bit of a scare. It was a Thursday night game, so you give them a little leeway there. They only win 17-13 over West Virginia.
I I think Baylor is a good team. They play what at the end of the season, Oklahoma and Texas back to back.
Yep.
I don't think that they come out of this season undefeated. If they do, playoff spot. But I don't think they do.
Yeah,
No.
I think this is one of those teams where it always happens in the Big 12. It seems there's always one team that is really good, not great, but they get
Yeah.
lucky to not have to face the good boys till the end of the year.
Yes.
So I think they've lucked out there. And again, we've talked about already. They also play Kansas too, which granted they didn't look too great against a hot Kansas State team this last week, but
Yeah.
they're a program getting better too. So that's not
Yeah.
a given win for them either.
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens moving ahead for them for sure.
Yeah.
Talking about scares, Notre Dame beats Virginia Tech by a point this week. The Fighting Irish are struggling right now.
You think? Yeah, that's one of those programs that you expect better from, based upon their history.
Both of these teams.
Yeah,
recent
but
history
at the
even,
same
but-
time, I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Notre Dame. Notre Dame has not been good. I can't think of a season where Notre Dame was good. I think that they've gotten lucky a couple of seasons. They've pulled out some games. They've managed 2 undefeated seasons to simply get humiliated by the first really good team that they play. So I think Notre Dame is not where they need to be, at least to get into the playoffs. I mean, they were able to do it last year. Not saying that they were really good. You would think that with the opportunities that they're given, scheduling wise, that they could at least pull off a very good season, and they're kind of throwing this one away.
All right. I agree. All right, moving on. Big SEC matchup. Georgia beats Florida in the cocktail party.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by this?
I wasn't surprised, but I really thought Florida was going to win this game.
Yeah.
But no, Georgia's a good team. That does not surprise me. I think that a lot of the issues that they had coming into this game seemed to be fixed. It looked like their receivers were playing well, at least Lawrence Cager was. And Swift was moving the ball when needed. It was a tough game. Georgia had to fight that one out, but man, I give them credit. They won that game, and they look like a team who's obviously going to go to the SEC championship. And we will see what happens when they get there. But yeah, Georgia's inserted themselves right back into this conversation.
Yeah, it was definitely, this was the game to watch for the SEC.
Yeah.
Especially this week. With the East being kind of decided, they think. Yeah, my biggest takeaway was, I know we talked some during the game checks and stuff. My biggest disappointment was I didn't see the same effort in the Florida defense that I did against LSU and Auburn. You know, especially the secondary. I felt, I don't know if they saw something or they just thought maybe these receivers weren't that good. But, you know, I've been challenging Georgia's receivers to step up and actually run routes and be effective. They didn't have to do that this game because the secondary seemed to be playing soft all game. They were only relying on the rush, which I felt was a bad idea because if you look at this Georgia team, I feel like their strength is that offensive line. So the fact that they just let their couple guys try to win the edge battle, to me, was not a disservice to them at all.
Yeah.
And they just played soft coverage all day, which gave Georgia all – they didn't have to fight them, I thought.
I agree, and I think that Florida didn't do well enough of a job getting into Fromm's head. You know, when Fromm was playing South Carolina, he was getting banged up, but even still, the pressure made him do a lot of things that he should not have done in that game. And when Fromm is not put under pressure, he can eat you apart. And so he took care of Florida, and I give him credit for leading Georgia the way that he did. They needed Fromm in that game, and he came up. I do want to say that Florida's defense could have played better in that game, but I also think just the familiarity with the two, they know each other. This Florida and Georgia game, it was just a typical Florida-Georgia game. I mean, one team had to win, and you took it for what it was. But I think Florida definitely could have played better. I did not like at the end of the game that their final scoring drive in the fourth quarter, down 2 touchdowns, they went on a scoring drive that took 7 minutes off of the clock. That, I mean, it blows my mind because then by that point, I mean, all Georgia had to do was get a first down. The game was over. I mean, the game was at almost 9 to 10 minutes whenever Florida first got that ball. And then by the time that they scored, the defense is having to come out there and has to get a stop for Florida to even get the ball back. And they couldn't do it. But, I mean, it's not like we're talking like Florida got the ball with 3 minutes and had to move I mean, they got the ball with most of the fourth quarter left and completely just took the whole stinking quarter to get points. I mean, it just, I don't know what Florida was thinking. The time was of the essence.
Yeah.
And why it took 7 minutes to score a touchdown. I get that your offense is not that great, and I get that Georgia's defense was playing really well, but the fact that they were moving very meticulously, and it was a well-designed scoring drive, if it was in the first, second, or third quarter. Not down by now. If the game was tied, or if Florida was up by a touchdown and they had a 7-minute drive for a touchdown, I'd say, wow, what an awesome drive. But they were down 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, and I'm like,
where's the urgency?
What a stupid drive.
Where's the urgency there? Yeah.
The situation did not fit that game script right there, and I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah, definitely some questionable coaching decisions, I think, for Florida that
agree.
loss. But again, I'll go back to it, because I don't like them. give credit to Georgia and Fromm did make the throws this week because he had
Yes.
time to make them. Because there was one point I know like literally it was the exact same play that he made a perfect pass on that was just over the corner's head.
Mm-hmm.
That was the interception that gave South Carolina the win.
Yeah.
And that the forced overtime. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was just that it was same route, same play, and he made a way better throw that time
Yeah.
because he had the time and he made the throw when it counted.
Yeah.
And
Fromm
he
Fromm
did
played
before.
very well compared to the last couple of games. And I mean, he made that play at the very end. He made the first down when they needed him to. And in the past, Fromm has not always made that play, especially in the two losses that they had to Alabama in the last few years. They've needed Fromm to make a couple throws at the end of the game, and he wasn't able to do it. So, I mean, the fact that he was able to make that throw spoke a lot to me about the Jake Fromm that we're going to see the rest of the season.
Yep, we'll see. Moving forward. All right, so yeah, of course, we're SEC Nation first, so we're going to talk a little more about it, big SEC games. Let's run through a couple more games real quick. Nationally, the big game day game was Memphis and SMU, and it turned out to be a pretty interesting game. Memphis is able to outlast the Ponies 54-48.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say, as awesome as the game was, Memphis put on a clinic at times offensively. Of course, these games, there's not going to be much defense.
No.
But I will say, this SMU team, a few weeks ago, the first time they were ranked, they got down by a lot, and they came back and won the game. This SMU team, they've got some grit. You can't put them away, it seems. They've got so much talent on offense. Their quarterback, the former Texas player, I can't get name escaping in a second, but he had another great game.
Yeah.
Made some really great passes, especially at the end of the game. And if they would have had just a few more minutes, they might could have pulled this one off too. But it was a good win for Memphis in top 25 action. The Americans got some pretty good teams this year across the board. I think this is a lot better than years past when it's been just UCF and USF.
No, I agree. And SMU is a good team, and Memphis is a good team. And I think they both proved that they're two good teams battling it out. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of defense, but hey, who cares? It was a good game.
I mean, outside the SEC, who really cares about good defense?
Yeah.
I mean, the Big 12, they don't have defenses either.
Just win the game. Just win. That's all that matters.
Yep. All right, so another one that had could have had big implications on the top 10. Early on, Oregon ends up crushing SC 56-24. And this game was one of those weird games where USC jumped out early, and they really could have squashed the Ducks.
I felt like they were going to win
the bad SC showed up this year, and they coughed it up.
Yeah.
And Oregon ends up having a big second half and just completely owns them this game. Credit to Oregon. Oregon's a great team.
Yeah, they're a good team.
I've seen them live this year. They're fast as advertised. That offensive line is one of the best ones in the country. But it felt like this is the Pac-12, and we missed out on a chance of the Pac-12 messing itself up for once. Just bad SC. Granted, they're on their third string quarterback for the third time this year. It seems.
I feel bad for USC. Not because I like them, but because it's just it's like Florida State. It's one of those programs that you expect more, and when they don't live up to that, it's just kind of like, where's USC?
Yeah, they've had some injuries this year, but still, it's still you expect better product on the field than they constantly give. All right, so another game of the SEC. We'll talk a little bit more. Ole Miss almost pulls the upset in Jordan-Hare. They have the ball with chance to score, but Auburn's defense able to bow their necks when needed. This was a really weird game. I thought, especially, it was early in the game, my bad, not early time in the day, but it was just one of those things as a Auburn fan. I was just like, this is going to be a long night. You can just tell early. Marlon Davidson was out with a lower back injury that they kept him out more for caution. So, and that, because we want him ready to go for Georgia and Bama.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's fine. But the biggest miss was Jeremiah Denson, who's the true leader of that defense. Everyone loves Derek Brown, and he's definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
But he's the one that leads the defense, makes all the calls, leading tackler, one of the best players on the Auburn defense that's not talked about, to be honest. He was out of the game with an illness.
Yeah.
So him missing was, I felt like some of the part of the defense, but then you got Anders going 2 for 5 for field goals, which doesn't help the case.
Yeah.
But this is the game if you're going to miss field goals. I guess this is the one to miss it.
Yeah.
And then, but it was one of those games where I think Gus just said, you know what, Bo's going to throw all night. He threw 44 passes. He had 30 completions for 340 yards and had a rushing touchdown. So he had a pretty good night considering he's just between the 20s.
Yeah.
Had to settle for a lot of field goals and throwing a lot. We threw a lot in the red zone. There was a fumble also. Harold Joyner came in since Booby's not back. He's kind of the number 2 Wildcat. He had a fumble at the goal line, which he had to settle for one of the field goals we actually made, thankfully. But it was just one of those weird nights that, I'm going to take it as I'm just glad Auburn got the dub and move on to a bye week before Georgia. But what do you think of it watching it on the outside?
There are teams that have games that are closer than what you expected. I know in the past Alabama has had games where you were surprised by the score. I remember many moons ago when Arkansas was actually kind of decent. I mean, there was a game we played Arkansas. It was like 17-19, and it was just a bad game by Alabama. We were making mistakes, turnovers. We like fumbled out of the back of the end zone one time. I mean, it's just sometimes good teams just don't have a great game.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's close because of what Auburn could not do, not because of what Ole Miss did. Right. And so I think it's kind of funny that a lot of people want to crap on Ole Miss, but they know how to give a team a game.
Yeah.
And so they scored 31 on Alabama. They gave Auburn a scare. They're a good little team. They're not a very good team. They're not gonna be great at anywhere close to it, but they are one of those teams that, like, when I face them, I'm not just giving that one a W. And so, especially if you play the way that Auburn did, because again, it's not that Auburn's a bad team. They just had a very bad night.
Yeah. And I think some of it too was Gus was his opportunity that we're going to work on stuff that we're bad at, and it showed. Because we could have easily had DJ Williams, who's starting to show up as a star running back. I think he is.
Yeah.
Now that he's healthy, we could have just pounded the rock all night and ran up the score, and especially when we got in our side of the territory, just taking over the run game. But Gus didn't do that. He said, you know what, Bo's going to throw a lot more, and you live and die with that with a young quarterback. I don't think he made any really terrible decisions. He didn't throw an interception. It was just in the red zone when things tighten up. It's hard to make those decisions, and to me, that's a win for him that he didn't throw any interceptions, because he threw interceptions in other big games when we've been down there. So that's a plus for him. Another thing of note that I'm not going to give it as an excuse, but I am hearing rumblings from those that are inside the program a little more that, I think a lot of the players were a little disappointed in losing Joey this week. For those who didn't know, Joey Gatewood decided to enter the transfer portal because he feels he needs the opportunity to where he can start, which I completely agree with. He's an excellent player, and I think he should have been the starter just as much as Bo this year. So you hate to see guys like that leave during the middle of the season.
You do.
You kind of want them to, I feel like it's better situation to stay there, get to train in the good facilities and stuff like that. But he felt like he wanted to take some recruiting trips, which I completely understand, and you can't do that for another team.
Yeah.
So I know I want the best for him as long as he doesn't end up at like Florida State or something. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean there's a QB job opening pretty much
there's
there.
a head coach job opening over there too.
But moving on, just it's at least get the dub of moving on. It's SEC West. You can live with it. And it's a good wake up call a little bit for the guys going into bye week before Georgia, because Georgia's got a tough one against Missouri, possibly at least physical. May not show up on the scoreboard, but that might be a physical game. All right, so let's jump into next week. I've got one, possibly two big spoilers for the week, but this is one of them. So first game, number 5 Penn State is going into Minnesota and losing this week. How do you feel about that?
I think
I'm
that it's possible.
I'm gonna call the upset here.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not out of the realm of possibility. Penn State is going to need to play good defense, and so we'll see. I mean, PJ Fleck has done an amazing job with this Minnesota team. Obviously, they are undefeated and they want to keep it going. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that Penn State could very well lose this game, but I think at the end of the day, they probably win. But, I mean, I don't think you're out of the realm of possibility calling the upset.
This is another team like Baylor that's just, granted, I will say that some of it's been scheduling, but this is another team that's not lost that no one is talking about. And the difference between them and Baylor is I think they're actually above good to maybe close to great team that they can play with any of them in the Big Ten. I think
we'll find out. I mean, this is Minnesota's week to prove it. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we're gonna find out.
Yeah, they win this game. They're going to get a big dub against a team that I think is a little overrated. Some of that too. We've had that conversation before last week. Penn State's a top 10 team, but I'm not sure they're sold on them at 5. So we'll see how that's going on. Another team that's playing extremely well right now. Kansas State is traveling to Texas. That is the ranked Kansas State
against an unranked Texas.
Yeah.
Unranked.
They're
unranked.
This is, it's crazy. Like this Kansas State has an SEC win on their belt.
Can we get a soundbite of Ellinger going, "We're back"? You're not. You're not back. I'm sorry, Texas. You still suck. I'm sorry.
We'll find out that LSU game was much of a game or not, or if it was home field advantage.
Yeah, well, I mean, regardless, LSU won that game, rightfully so. But we won't harp on that.
Yeah.
Texas is what Texas is, and so regardless of what happens, they are not that good.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see them lose here, so we don't have to watch OU Texas again for.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get to see Kansas State OU for a second time.
That, or I mean, we talked about it.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Hopefully Texas loses again because I like to watch them lose.
Yeah, they're one of those fun teams to lose. Yeah. All right, another one. Big Ten matchup could be, if you don't like a lot of offense, tune into this Iowa at Wisconsin.
I hate offense.
You don't like a lot of it. I mean, you still got Jonathan Taylor.
I just want to run the ball. That's all I want to do. No, this game is going to be decent. I think Wisconsin pulls it off, but we'll see. Iowa's pretty decent too, so we'll find out.
All right, another one that's not big nationally, but it's huge for the building process or whatever you want to call it. Both teams are building. Brick building.
A brick in the. No, I'm sorry.
Tennessee's traveling to Kentucky, a very up and down Kentucky team, which Tennessee is on the rise. They're getting better ever since that tough game against Bama. They've been improving.
I give Tennessee a lot of credit. They are better than what they were at the beginning of the season. However, I enjoyed watching them be really bad. So, I got to enjoy Tennessee being bad. Now Tennessee fans get to enjoy them being pretty decent. So we all win.
Yeah.
We all win.
Yeah. Be the welcome. They both get, whoever needs this win for both get eligible, I'm all for it because I like teams going to bowl games, especially in the SEC, because that, to me, the value of a bowl game is so much more than a game. It's especially for those young guys. It's guys getting another few weeks of practice and just working on. It's like a little mini spring training for a lot of, and bowl games are big for the next year in the process. So you always want teams to get to a bowl game. So I'm all for whichever one needs this win more to make the bowls.
I think that Tennessee needs it because they are riding off of something that is very good, and I think that if they were to lose this game, it takes a little bit of the wind out of their sails.
Right.
I think Kentucky is what Kentucky is, but I give Tennessee a lot of credit. I mean, They need 2 more wins to get into a bowl game. I think I want to say that they need 2 more.
Yeah.
But
They have 4
regardless,
wins.
yeah, okay. So you're looking at Kentucky. You need that win, and then
Yeah.
I think they have 3 more games. So you need to win 2 of those, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I mean, math is hard.
Yeah,
but
Tennessee's like actually like a good school.
yeah.
So the football team probably struggles, so they probably need that second win.
Yeah, but so Tennessee, they need to beat Kentucky, and hopefully, I think they play like a lower team again. I'm not exactly sure, but regardless, Kentucky and Vanderbilt are the winnable games left on Tennessee's schedule. Oh no! I think they play Kentucky, and Missouri and Vanderbilt. I want to say that's Tennessee's
Those
schedule.
that could be interesting. Those are doable.
Yeah,
But
I think all of those 3 games are winnable for Tennessee. So
They can win
to
out.
see them get into a bowl game. Yes, I'm exactly right. So they play Kentucky, they play Missouri, and they play Vanderbilt. I think they get a bye week after this Kentucky game. So the fact that they have to play Kentucky and Missouri on the road. So if they can get one of those, come back home and play Vanderbilt, you're looking at a bowl game. But man, they've got to beat one of these teams.
Yeah.
And so Kentucky is the team to do it. Kentucky has been struggling on and off. They'll come and beat a team, but then at the same time they'll lose. So I
They've
don't know
got
how to
good
pin
defense
Kentucky.
there. It's more that their defense is there. They just their offense is not
Yeah.
consistent, especially ever since they lost.
So I'm interested in this
Yeah.
game. So we'll see how this ends up. But Tennessee really needs to win this game to allow themselves some wiggle room with the last 2 games.
Yeah, that's definitely the only game that matters in the SEC this week. It's all that. Kidding.
Yeah.
All right, so last, always just talk about the biggest game last. The LSU Tigers are traveling to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, they are.
So that is
They sure
1 and
are.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's
So-
number 1?
LSU's number 1.
Huh.
And they're going to stay number 1. No. And honestly, my pick completely comes down to if Tua plays.
Yeah.
If Tua doesn't play, I really don't see Bama scoring enough points to keep up with LSU's offense. I think the LSU defense will give either quarterback opportunities to score to make it a game. And
Yeah.
unless this just turns into both of them forgetting what they've done the last year and a half or two, or this year on offense, especially for LSU and Bama the last 2, and it just turns into we're just going to run the ball and run at each other's heads for like
Yeah.
3 or 4 hours, like the old school games. I think if it turns into that, Bama's got the better running backs.
Yeah.
I like Bama. Najee
Um,
Harris wins that battle, but I think LSU wins if it's no Tua.
Yeah.
If Tua gets in there, I think it's close. I'll still stick with LSU even if Tua plays.
I think you just want them to win. That would probably be the
Well,
situation.
But I feel like Auburn's best chance of doing anything is a Bama win.
Yeah.
So, because we still can play Bama as far as that goes. Fairness aside, my brain and what I see on TV, Bama's defense isn't quite where it needs to be to stop
But is
this offense
LSU's?
enough. It's good enough for the if
But is it worse
Tua's
than
not playing.
Alabama's?
If Tua's
If
not
Tua's
playing,
not playing,
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. And
I
I think
mean,
it's
yeah.
just closer. I think the difference.
Yeah, here's where I lie on this. I'm not gonna make some bold prediction. I don't like to make those kind of things when
You
it
don't
comes to
wanna
Alabama. Yeah, partly, but I just want to say how I feel about this game.
Mhm.
I think both teams can win this game. I think if Alabama plays Mac Jones, Alabama can still win this game. I'm not saying that they will win this game. I think both quarterbacks can afford Alabama the opportunity to win. The Alabama defense has obviously not been the best Alabama defense that we've seen in the past. However, if we take what we saw last year from LSU, I get people want to say that this is different than anything Alabama has seen before. I disagree because Joe Burrow threw the ball well over 30 times against Alabama last year. They only rushed the ball as a team 25 times. They passed more than they threw. They tried to go over the top with Alabama. The Alabama, it's not like Alabama's going to be shocked whenever LSU walks out there and tries to throw the ball. In the past, yes, LSU has tried to run the ball more, but they have not been above passing. I mean, there's been many games where they passed more than Alabama did. So I get where people's saying like, oh, this is something Alabama's never seen before. I disagree. Now, I do think LSU's a very good team. So I think that their offense is better than it was. I think as a team, they're better than they were last year at this point in time. However, if they had ended up losing to Auburn or Florida, well, you're looking, I don't know how this game rolls. I mean, they only beat Auburn by 3 points. They did end up pulling away from Florida. So if they had 1 or 2 losses coming into this game, we might look at LSU differently. So I do think that both teams can win this game. I think it's going to be a close game. However, I will say that Alabama is going to live or die by man coverage. We are going to isolate the defensive backs. We are going to send pressure. We're going to make sure LSU doesn't run the ball. And if that kills us, if we still can't stop them, then it's going to be a shootout. But if Alabama can get inside LSU's head, which is possible because we've done it the last 8 years in a row, I don't know what this game's going to look like. So we will find out. If this game ends up being like both teams scoring less than 30 points, I will not be shocked. I know some people want to pin this game out to be like a 45 to 55 kind of game. I don't know if it's going to be that. But I do know that 2 good teams are playing each other, and somebody has to win. So I hope it's Alabama. If it's LSU, I give them a lot of credit. They've come a long way.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those, that 30-point line, I think, is where I think we're sitting at.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be mid to low 20s out of. I just feel like I just don't know if Alabama without Tua could pass 30.
Let me put it this way.
But
Alabama isn't going to shut LSU out again. However, LSU has not scored more than 20 points in the entire stretch since they have beaten Alabama. They have not scored over 20 points. I mean, you're talking 0 points, 7 points, 10 points, 14, 17. They've scored all in that range. They've scored 0 points multiple times. So if they score more than 20 points in this game, I mean, they're doing something they haven't done in nearly a decade against Alabama. So, I mean, they even if this game does not come out with a win for LSU at the end of this, well, they might have. I think they might have scored. I had to go back and look. They might have scored over 20. Yeah, but regardless, I will say if they score that many points, they're already going in the right direction. So even if this ends up being like a 31 to like 34 kind of game, I mean, LSU can't be upset. I mean, obviously you'd be upset you lost, but I mean, regardless, if you can put up those points against Alabama once again, it gives you confidence at least going into the future. So we'll see how this game ends. I'm excited for it from a football standpoint.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Nervous from an Alabama fan standpoint, but from a football fan standpoint, I'm excited.
Well, yeah, we definitely we don't have many big games, but we've got some definite good ones this weekend to look forward to. As y'all know, I'm Jonathan, War Eagle.
I'm Isaac. Roll Tide.